Hi everybody, and welcome to our little pre-class fun. And I thought I would pop on for a minute or two before we get started with the class and say hello and welcome everybody aboard. I see Miriam and Carrie, Darcy and Sue, Crystal and Debbie. Thank you all for joining me today. I'm really excited to be sharing this class. And I thought, since we're on a little early before we get started, I thought maybe I'd show you a little sneak peek at the new kit that I just released. Hi Marsha, hi Linda, hi Janice. So this is the Shimmery Tropical Oasis kit. It's only available until Friday. This is a special kit I designed using these are Tropical Oasis Memories and More cards, and they come with like little stick-ons. And I took these and I just made some really fun and beautiful cards out of them, and I used these Memories and More card bases and envelopes. So every card, and there's 20 of them in here, every card has one of these beautiful lined envelopes. And then I'll just show you a couple of them. I'll tease you. But if you want more information, you can go on my stampwithtami.com blog. I have all the information there. And I don't know if you can see the shimmer on here, but there's shimmery. And there's a couple of fun, really easy techniques. But I've got 20 card designs, so there's 15 regular that don't include any stamping at all and don't require a stamp set. And then I have 5 bonus card designs that use the Timeless Tropical Bundle, which I also have a special offer on if you don't already have that. And if you already have these supplies, this kit is also great to purchase because you can double double what the tutorial and the kit actually has in it if you have those already. So anyways, that's just a little sneak peek at that kit, and Friday is the deadline for that. Hi everybody, welcome aboard. I'm going to get started in about 30 seconds. I just love to get started and say a little hi to everybody jumping on board early, to all the early birds. And I'm excited to be playing with the paper pumpkin kit today. All right, so I am just going to switch over to the official welcome, and we will get started with the class. See you in a sec. Hello everybody, and welcome to my online class where today we are going to be making some copper foil and floral cards, and these are alternates to the February Lovely Day paper pumpkin kit, and also alternates to the alternate to that kit. I'm going to also show you how to create similar designs using the Happy Birthday to You stamp set that's free during Saleabration because it coordinates with this kit. So we are going to be making these beautiful cards over here. All 5 of them. I'll show you some tips and tricks. We are going to be using the Stampin Blend Markers today with those. And this is the kit here. These are the cards the kit made. You can check out my reveal video from last week, our class last week. I opened up the kit, showed you everything inside, and we created these 3 cards right out of the box. And then today I'm going to be doing alternates. We're going to rework what was in there and make some cards that are completely different. And if you don't have this kit yet, I got great news for you because as of this morning, the refill to the kit is available in my online store. And I have to give a really quick side note that these don't last. And I mean, by the time you get there, they could be gone already. I have no idea. But they go very quickly, the refills do. So if you love what you see here, you might want to pop on over to stampwithtami.com and get your refill kits. You can click on the link in this video's description too. And the only thing the refills don't have is the stamp set and the ink pad, but I'm also going to show you some ways to use the Happy Birthday to You stamp set to get that. And One other way that you can get it is by winning it. I'm giving 4 full kits away. That includes the stamp set and ink pad. 2 immediately following this live and 2 on March 9th. All you need to do is leave a comment here. Say hello. Let me know what you like, which card you like the best. And you will automatically be entered. If you share this broadcast onto a social media platform and type the word share or shared into the comments, I will enter you a second time. And if you were early enough to catch the pre-game show, I'll call it. If you were early enough to catch me ahead of time, I did a little meet and greet and chat for all of you who were on here quickly. And I shared some of the cards in my new Shimmery Tropical Oasis card kit. This is something I put together, and it's available on my blog, but only until Friday. You can purchase it there, and it comes with a free Saleabration set. And you can even choose the Happy Birthday to You stamp set free that we're using today, so that's kind of cool. So we're going to be playing with the Lovely Day Paper Pumpkin kit, and this is February's kit. If you're not familiar with Paper Pumpkin, let me give you a quick recap of what it is. I'm so sorry. Oh, sometimes I thought I muted everything, but I guess I missed one thing, of all the electronics hanging around. Anyways, back to Paper Pumpkin fun. It is an all-inclusive kit in a box. It comes every month, and it's just my favorite thing to get in the mailbox, especially, you get your bills, you don't want them, but you get your Paper Pumpkin, and it's like Christmas. And everything's included. It's different every month. You get an exclusive stamp set, you get an ink pad, and you get a whole box full of projects like the ones I just shared with you. There are 2 ways to get a Paper Pumpkin kit. You can subscribe, which is by far the easiest, and simply go to stampwithtami.com and click on Paper Pumpkin, and you will be able to subscribe there. Or you can also do the prepaid subscriptions. Now, the difference is when you subscribe, it just automatically comes. You don't have to do anything extra. And if you, for some reason, you need to stop for a little while, you can pause, and you can cancel at any time, and then you can come back. And I'm going to just do a quick, the prepaid subscriptions are prepaid, and you can do 1 month, 3 month, 6 month. And what's cool about 3 month, 6 month, and 12 month right now is that you get a free Saleabration or free Saleabration products with it. And so that means if you do a prepaid kit right now, you can also get that free Happy Birthday to You or something else with it. So you need to subscribe by the 10th of every month. And right now we're in the subscription period for March. And that is the joy of spring, but it's also Paper Pumpkin's 7-year anniversary, which means there'll be a free bonus stamp set, like a party in a box. It's also a special edition box that comes with that. So you want to pop on over there and get that. And also, if you missed my announcement, the refills to the kit that we're playing with today are available in my online store while they last. Now, I shared this really quickly. I'm going to pop back over to the Shimmery Oasis card kit that's available on my blog, because there was a question in there. If you already have the stamp sets and dies, can you just get the instructions? First of all, this kit doesn't use the stamp set and dies. This is actually created with memories and more. I designed it. It's actually a no stamp kit. It's pretty cool. And if you happen to have these cards already, that just means you get double the mileage out of it. But this is sold as a package, and it is available till Friday. And if you don't have the stamp set, I do have a special offer on that, and I have 5 bonus projects that include the stamp set, but you do not need it to create these projects. Actually, they were not the 15 projects that come in the kit. So the whole kit has instructions to make 20 cards, and you will have card bases, really pretty envelopes. It's awesome. You can go to stampwithtami.com to check it out. Friday is the deadline for this kit. All right. So with that, let's play. This is what we're going to be making today. And what's cool is these cards that we're making today match the envelopes that in the same size that came in the kit. So you can use these envelopes with the alternate projects too. I kept them the same size. All right, so I'm going to start with this one, but I'm going to point out that I'm using both the supplies, both the supplies and the stamp set that came in the Paper Pumpkin kit. I'm also sharing alternates to the alternate and sharing how these two coordinate. And this Happy Birthday to You is one you can get free during Saleabration, so you don't need the kit to make the cards that have the Happy Birthday to You stamp set on them. So we're going to start with this one. I'll just move all the others out of the way. This one, really simple card. And all of the cards that I just shared, I have the measurements for everything on the free PDF, which is on the resource page of this class. So if you are watching and you're new, you can pop on over and download that. If you are watching and you're not new, you can pop on over and download that. It has all the measurements. It's also got the URL to the resource page where the video that we're making right now will live, on and on and on. So you can go back and watch it there if you need some more tips or help or want to rewatch something. And it also has a full supply list of everything that I'm using here today, including all the colors of Stampin' Blend markers. I will rattle them off as I'm using them, but just so you know, that full list is also on that resource page as well as on this free PDF. So for this one, I'm going to start with how I made the designer paper. Now the designer paper on all of them, I cut up the actual cards that came in the kit because I was reworking them and I thought this would be fun. So I used this card base here. This was the card that came in the kit like this. So here's the card base. See the card base there? So what I did was I took the rectangle die and I cut out, this is the second largest for this card, and then this one's going to be the next card, and that's the third largest rectangle die. So I just put that in there so they wouldn't move around because I wanted to show you how I did it, how they were cut right out of that piece. And then I put all these Post-it notes behind it so it wouldn't float away on me. Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I tend to be a messy stamper. Sometimes, meaning all the time. And so sometimes, you know, I'm down here on the desk and things just disappear, even when I'm making a video. So they were these tags. They were actually rose gold, which, oh my God, I love, right? Rose gold. I hope more rose gold comes in our new catalog that's going to come out in the summer. But since I didn't have rose gold foil, I decided to coordinate with copper, which I felt was the next best thing. What do you guys think about that? Next best thing, copper? I think rose gold is going to be the new copper. So I'm going to do some embossing. So I've taken the embossing buddy here and just rubbed it right over that tag. And then I'm going to take a Versamark ink pad and the birthday stamp, which comes in, this was part of the Paper Pumpkin kit here. The birthday stamp came in there. So I'm going to take that and stamp it. I just stamped it right kind of smack in the middle, which will be almost impossible to see here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of heat embossing. So we'll just move that out of the way so we can ooh and ah over the heat embossing because it's cool. Heat embossing, still probably one of my favorite techniques. I've just got some scrap paper here to catch our excess powder. This is copper embossing powder, so everything matches. I'm going to pour that right over that. Now you can see where I stamped and flick off the excess. One thing I love about this embossed powder seems to last forever, right? Just pour it right back in there and it just keeps going and going and going. All right, now I am going to use the heat tool next, and this is going to melt our powder. Can you guys see that okay? Do you want me to zoom in a little bit? Maybe I'll just hold it up a little bit, that might help. My birthday is a little bit stubborn. There it goes. Woo! Can you see it? And when you're done, our powder's all melted. I am going to zoom in just a hair so you can see that, just because it's cool. It looks cool. It's raised up. Really pretty. See that? So we've got a little, it's almost like the copper foil on there. So next up for this card, we just have assembly because the rest of the pieces on this card were actually part of the kit. So this was part of the kit. These die cut pieces will be in the refill. Yeah, Sandy was saying she hates cutting up the card. She can never bring herself to do it. And Karen brought up a good point that you can get 2 cards out of one card base when you do that, which is what we're doing. And I did that actually with all of the cards. I was able to get 2 out of each one. So we have these beautiful, these are foam foil words that go. So we got birthday, wishes, you know, or lovely birthday, or, you know, the words in the stamps and the words in here all go together. So I'm going to take the wishes for this one. And they're foam, so they're pop up, and they're sticky. Like, oh my gosh, could that get any better? I don't know. I don't know if it can. And I cut the copper foil from the largest rectangle die of that same die set that we cut all the other pieces. And I did use this rectangle die set on all of the cards today, or almost all but the last one. So I'm just going to take some snail adhesive and attach. This one actually doesn't have any Stampin' Blends on it. This one is just a basic card made with the contents of the kits, just to show what, you know, one plain alternate before we get going with all the fun toys. Because you don't have to have all of the supplies to make cool stuff. You can improvise just like this one, and do, if you don't have all the things to just have, you know, the kit and maybe a little bit of cardstock, you can totally improvise and make beautiful, beautiful cards that way. Okay, so I just put some pop dots, some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of that, and we've got a Blackberry Bliss card base on here, so that really makes the copper and the stripes pop. And then I'm going to take a few more Stampin' Dimensionals for the back of this flower. And some snail adhesive for the back of that tag, and then these are already sticky, so we just peel off the backing on that and we're good to go. Except now it's sticking to my fingers. It did not want to let go. It was a beautiful paper pumpkin, wasn't it, Nancy? Oh, I mean, I love them every month, don't get me wrong, but the colors, everything in this one, just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so I'm placing that there. I'm kind of lining this up. It's in the center, but up a little bit. I have a piece of hair that seems to want to just be part of this card. So when somebody gets this card and it has one of my hairs on it, know that it was sent with love. I don't know if you guys shed like I do, but yeah, sometimes I just leave a little piece of me in all my cards. All right, and then we've got our wishes that pop right in here. And then if you wanted to, the kit came with those little sequins. You could put some of these little sequins on there too. And that's card number 1. Quick, easy, and awesome, right? Okay, so next up, card number 2. A very similar design, except this time, instead of using the paper pumpkin kit, I used the coordinating Happy Birthday to You stamp set that you can get free during Saleabration. And I used the birthday dies. Now you can purchase these dies and they match the stamp set. The dies are available in my online store. And I just cut these out just to show you what they do. We're going to be using these a few times in here. And stay tuned to the end, because I'm also going to share part 2 of this class, which will be on Saturday, where I'll be using the same products, the same stamp sets, the paper pumpkin kit and the Happy Birthday to You stamp sets, and we're going to be doing watercoloring. All right, so on this one, and I cheated a little bit and pre-stamped these. And I already, since we just did embossing on the last one and you saw how that was done, I just pre-embossed the Celebrate up here. And I'm going to point out that the font in the Happy Birthday to You stamp set matches the font in, remember I said these match? So the font both in the stamp set of the paper pumpkin kit, but also on the foam. So when you emboss these words in the copper and cut them out, I mean, granted they're not on foam, but they look very similar, and it's a very cool look. So if you didn't have the kit, or didn't have the stamp set in the kit, this is another way that you can do that. All right, next up we are going to do some fun with, the rest of these cards are going to use Stampin' Blend markers. And I am going to pull in my marker collection, and I know as soon as I do this, I'm going to start getting questions, right? Everybody's going to want to know, oh, where did you get the tray? Everybody asks me this every time I pull them out in a video. And I only have them on this tray because it makes it easy for me to move them around in and out of the camera. And just, yeah, I know whoever, 3 or 4 of you that were just about to ask that question, it's the lid to my card box. I got it at Walmart. It's Sterilite card box. Yeah, they just happen to fit on top of that lid perfectly, so I'm able to I'm able to move them around quickly. So on this card, I'm going to start with the center of the flowers, and those are going to be the petal pink and a little help from Calypso Coral. So pretty much on all of these, I'm going to be using, on all the cards, I'm going to be using the combo of colors when I use colors. Now, on this particular one, you see I have stamped it 3 times. We're actually going to use 3 different layers of this. So let's start with the cake, and that is going to be colored with the lightest color, which is petal pink. And now here's a fun tip on this one. You don't have to worry about going outside the lines with the cake because you know how I'm going right over the flowers here, because that's not going to show. The flowers are not going to show. You don't want to go over the lines on the bottom here though. And then I'm going to take the lighter of the petal pinks, highlight just some of the areas that are already highlighted here. And the Calypso Coral, I'm going to go ahead and just use the lighter one for this particular piece. Just a couple little highlights in there. And then I'm going to go back with the light petal pink. Now, these are blending alcohol markers, the Stampin' Blends. And they work best when your cardstock is wet. I'm using Whisper White cardstock here. And I personally like to start by coloring my subject with the lightest color that I'm going to use, and then work into the darker color so it's already wet with the lighter color, and then blend them together. But there are different ways to do this, and everybody does have a different style, so it is acceptable to do that other ways. So now I've blended that in, and we've got our cake colored and ready, and let's go ahead and do the bottom of that so that piece will be ready. Sharon's asking, can you color the sections on the stamp and then stamp it? Not with these markers. You can if you have Stampin' Right markers, which are not alcohol based. They're water based. If you should never use the alcohol based markers on a stamp because it's alcohol and it will dry it out. You do not want to do that. It will ruin your stamps. Eventually in time they'll break down. So, but our other line of markers, the Stampin' Right markers, are water-based, and you can color on stamps with those. So you can color on sections with those. Okay. So we have the first part of our 3-part already done. That's just the cake base. So this is going to be our base layer. Next, we're going to do the flowers, but I'm going to do that on the second flower here. So we'll start, since I have these colors already out, petal pink and... And we'll go with this is the darker petal pink. We'll go ahead and use that. So I've got petal pink and Calypso Coral out. And on this one, there are a couple little buds off on the side here. So you want to get those too. I'm going to leave that out and go ahead and highlight with the Calypso Coral markers. I didn't highlight all of those little buds, just some of them. But in the center, I want this darkest Calypso Coral and maybe a little bit on the buds because that's really going to make it pop. So I've got a couple of colors layered on there, and then I'm going to go back with the petal pink and blend it. And if you see a line, just keep blending until it goes away. That's pretty much how, I mean, it's really easy. That's pretty much all you have to do. When you see a line, just keep blending until that line goes away. All right, so next up we'll do the flowers, and they are in Rich Razzleberry. So I've got Rich Razzleberry, light and dark. Each of these Stampin' Blend markers comes with a light and a dark of the color set. And so I apologize if I'm moving off screen a little bit. And I'm a lefty, so sometimes I cover the project without even realizing it. So just yell at me if you see that happening. Because sometimes I get carried away with the coloring. I just love it. The other thing that I want to point out here when you're coloring with these Stampin' Blend markers, they are alcohol based and they dry very quickly. So I mentioned that they blend best when they're wet. If you have a large area, like right now I'm probably on the limit of what I should be doing all at the same time, you might want to do smaller, like one flower at a time, just so that it doesn't dry on you, and then it won't blend as nicely. So you may not be able to get rid of your harsh line if it already blends. So I literally, for this particular one, I just went with a dark rich raspberry. I just kind of did like a circle around the middle. You know, there are different ways of shading this flower, but for this particular project, that's how I did it. And then I just went back with the lighter rich raspberry and blended that in. Beautiful, right? So easy. Okay, so next up, we're going to take some old olive. Now all the greens in this set are all old olive. Okay. And we're going to color those leaves in, starting with again, this is how I like to do it. It's starting with the lightest, and then I will work with a darker one. Just because that way, I think that was a petal, but that's okay. It's a leaf now. And this one, I didn't do too much. Not too much. Just a little bit of the old olive around where the base of the flower petals are. The other thing is you want to cap it right after you're done with it, again, so that it doesn't dry out. And often, you know, I'm asked about refills. These don't have refills, but what's better about that is you can actually, they're not expensive. You can actually buy another marker for the price of other brands' refills. So, and then you get a whole new marker, new tip, everything. So that's kind of cool. I honestly kind of prefer that. Okay. So here's the 3 stages. I've stamped it 3 times, colored the cake here, the flowers here. Now 1 extra flower here, and I'll show you why in just a minute. And then I'm going to take those beautiful dies that I showed you. These that you can purchase in my online store. They are made to go with the Happy Birthday to You Saleabration stamp set, but you can buy the dies. And so what I'm going to do is use this one here and the birthday cake. So the birthday cake is going to cut out the birthday cake. And this one is going to cut out our flowers. I'm going to do this one twice, once here and once here. And you're like, but wait, there's 2 flowers that aren't colored over there. Why are you doing that? And then through the magic of video, ta-da, I have them all cut out for us. I also cut out that Celebrate. I should have said that too. That I just trimmed out with the markers. I mean, the markers, the scissors, the paper snips. Just take your snips and just trim around the word. I'll do it in an upcoming card so you can see what I mean. Okay. Now the reason why I only colored 1 flower on this one is because I'm going to take those paper snips that I just mentioned and cut off those other 2 flowers so we just have the 1. And they're lined up pretty nicely that it's easy to do that. And then you just have 1 left here. I'm not using those 2. Sorry, guys. Yes, I talk to my projects all the time. All right, now there's one more really cool thing I want to share with you for this card, and that is how to make ombre ribbon in any color that the Stampin' Blends come in. And that uses the Stampin' Up Whisper White crinkle. This is white crinkle ribbon right here. And so I'm just going to cut off a little piece here. I was experimenting and came across this, and I was like, oh my gosh, how cool is this? I love ombre. You guys like the look of that? It's just really cool. So I am going to take rich raspberry and let's go with petal pink. So we'll start with, and I'm going to use the brush tip end for this. There's a brush tip and a nib tip end of all of these. So I'm going to start with a lighter color on this end. And I'm just going to color the ribbon. So you could color your ribbon any color, you know, even if you just did it flat 1 color and not ombre. And then I'm going to step it up with the darker petal pink. Just so it gradually gets darker. Let's see, should we go right to, you know what, let's go ahead and work in some of this Calypso Coral. I don't know where my light Calypso Coral just went, but I've got a dark one here. We'll just go ahead and use that. And blend that in, right? And then we'll step into rich raspberry. This is the light rich raspberry. And then we've got the dark rich raspberry. And ta-da! And you could do this with any color too. When you're done, you have some beautiful ombre ribbon, customized just for your project. So now it's time for some assembly. And I'm going to use the other piece of that card base. So we cut out this piece for our last card of this card base. And now for this card, I've also pre-cut this. Also put a bunch of posties on the back of it. So this was the original card base. And like someone mentioned, now you get 2 out of 1. And that's cool. So this is the 4th largest rectangle die. Now, if you don't have the rectangle dies, I listed measurements on the free PDF. So if you pop on over to the resource page that's linked in the video's description, I have which dies I used and also what measurements you can cut your cardstock to if you don't have those dies. All right, so first up, let's go ahead and attach our ribbon. I'm going to take some snail adhesive to do that. And I'm just putting snail right across the back of that ribbon. I want to make sure that beautiful ombre shows. Actually, let's share a little bit more of that. There we go. And just wrap that around that panel so the snail sticks. And then now you can go ahead and check out card 1 for how I assembled the card base. I cut out the largest rectangle from, this is one of the card bases that came in the kit. You could also use any designer paper. And since I already put the first card together, you can go back and check that if you're popping in late for how I assembled that. I just used snail on it. But I am going to use Stampin' Dimensionals on the rest of these pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over our pieces and stick them. Now for the word celebrate, I'm using Stampin' Dimensionals. I think this kit came with Stampin' Dimensionals, didn't it? Usually, a lot of them do. If it didn't, one of the previous ones did. And you can use those or you can purchase them in my online store. But the word celebrate, that was a little skinny. So we also sell mini dimensionals. Or you can use the edging. See this little edging on here? You could use that too. These actually were mini dimensionals that came in a kit. Maybe mini dimensionals came in this kit. I already forgot what came in it. And this is going to give everything a little pop. Now this could be a birthday card, but this could also be a wedding card or just, you know, a congratulations card. So this has a lot of versatility, this card does. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put our panel on there with the ombre ribbon. Why didn't you put them in the middle of the square? Rita asked, just because I was in a hurry. I didn't want you guys to painfully sit there while I peel the dimensionals off the back of each piece. That was all for you. Okay, so now I'm popping the flowers on. So that's why I didn't need to color the flowers on the cake base, because we're going to use this one. And then let's go ahead and put the Celebrate on here. Celebrate just kind of goes right across here on top of that little ombre ribbon. And last but not least, that single flower that we cut out from the trio, I'm going to put that right down here on the bottom. And then if you wanted to, you could add some of those sequins that came in the kit too. And that is card number 2. So that is how you can improvise, again, using these words instead of the foam pop dots. If the foam words, if you didn't have the kit, you can create this using the Happy Birthday to You coordinating set. Okay, so next up we have card number 3, which I've already lost on my table of things. Here we go. And this one. Okay, so on this one, we are going to color in this flower. Now the flower is stamped from the paper pumpkin kit. Okay, that's the flower as it's stamped in the paper pumpkin kit. And I'm going to go ahead and do very similar that we did to the last one. And I know when I clean up here, I'm going to find that other Calypso Coral marker that I had. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead with the darker petal pink in the center and the Calypso Coral that I still have. Outstanding. See, this is why I bring the tray so I don't lose them like I just did. But, oh, there it is. It's sitting right in front of me. Oh my God. Sometimes, I swear. It is sitting right in front of me and I still missed it. And then I'm just going to take the light petal pink to blend all of those lines together so we have a beautifully blended center. I'm not going to bother with the berries on the side because I'm cutting those off. And then for the flower, I'm taking Bermuda Bay and we've got some Pool Party. So I'm going to start with my lighter Pool Party and color the whole petal of the flower in here. And then I'm going to work in, now I'm going to color this one a little bit different than I colored the last flower. So I am going to do a little bit darker around the center there, but I'm going to use these lines as a little bit of a reference to add some darker color. So I've got darker Pool Party here on those. Maybe I'll add some underneath the petals too. But before I end, maybe just the lighter Bermuda Bay. I don't want to go too dark with this one. I'm going to, around the center, maybe a couple, not too many. I don't want it to be too much. A couple of those lines. And then I'm going to go back to my light Bermuda Bay, my light Pool Party, and just blend all of the color together. And if you were going slow here, like I'm going fairly quickly, if you were going slow, I would recommend doing this flower in pieces, like do half and then do the other half so that it doesn't dry on you, because once the blends dry, then it's hard to blend in those lines. They really need to be wet for that to happen. And then we have our beautiful little flower here. And if you wanted to layer some more color on there, you could, but I'm just going to keep rolling. We are going to do the leaves in some Old Olive. And basically, I'm just doing the exact same thing with these as we did in the other one by taking the lighter and then just a little bit of darker Old Olive in there. And then I would do the other ones as well. And then I would take my paper snips and trim that out. And through the magic of video, ta-da, here's what we got. And then I would go ahead and emboss the words congratulations that came in the kit on one of the tags that came in the kit. And it would look just like this. And then I would cut some pieces with the rectangle dies. And this one is one of the longer rectangle dies. There's the smallest of the longer rectangle dies. Now this tag, I'm going to note, doesn't fit there. See how it doesn't fit? And that's okay, because we're going to cover that. So I'm going to go ahead and take some snail adhesive and attach. And if you want to see more about the card assembly, you can, if you came in late, you can rewind and go back to the beginning, and I shared how I assembled all the cards to this point. And then we're going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. Okay, now I left this part kind of free because this is going to slide under it, but you could cut that tab off too, and that would work too. And then for this one, we're just going to go ahead and line these two pieces up. And that's it. Our card is done. So those two used the Lovely Day Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you're popping in late, I'm gonna bounce over here and let you know that these paper pumpkin kits, the refills are available in my online store, but only while they last. So they're gonna go fast. Okay, so the next card again, since we've done the assembly on all of them, I'm just going to be real quick. The flowers were colored the exact same way. So this is like my alternate version of this card, the one that we just did. So this one is created with the Happy Birthday to You stamp set. So what I did here was colored these exactly the same colors that I used here on that one. And I punched them out exactly the same way using the birthday dies that we did on card number 2. So what I did the cake, and then I just did a little bit of a light pool party on the cake. I didn't do a lot of coloring on that. And then I did these flowers. I didn't do the third flower on that one, but you could, and it would still look really good. So then I cut, while I was cutting stuff out, I cut the cake base out of copper foil. And that adds just a little bit of fun to it, because then you just cut the bottom of that cake off. So you just cut this off right here, and then you have this beautiful cake. That's how that fits on there. And last but not least is our Happy Birthday, and this is embossed in white. So I took my embossing buddy, rubbed it on here, stamped Happy Birthday from the Happy Birthday to You stamp set, and embossed it with white embossing powder, and then took the paper snips, I love the way this looks, and then just trimmed it out around the letters. And that goes fairly quick. And it looks really cool. And then that's all just put together with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And that is card number 4. Now the last card, card number 5, is slightly different. And that it has a little bit of a different twist on it, because I used the paper pumpkin kit for this one, and the flower stamp, as well as some of the outside flower stamps. I also used this scallop panel, came from the kit. So we're going to go ahead and start. So this scallop panel came from the kit, and we stamped over it with that flower. I'm not going to do that for this. I'm actually going to flip it over and use the other side. And then we're going to take some Memento. Anytime you're using your Stampin' Blend markers, you want to use your Memento ink. And after I'm done with this one, I'm going to give you a sneak peek on part 2, which uses the same paper pumpkin kit and the same Happy Birthday to You stamp set for Saturday's video, and I'm going to be doing watercoloring. So I'm going to show you, instead of Stampin' Blends, I'm going to show you a different way to color. So I'm stamping this on here, and while I'm stamping, I'm going to go ahead and stamp it on a piece of Whisper White cardstock, which, well, I think this is thick. Let me get another one. Oh well, it is what it is. That's okay. We're going to see how that thick Whisper White works. So I'm going to ink that up and stamp it on scrap paper while we have it out. And then, while this is, and I'm using this to line up, that's why I have stamped that there. So in that stamp set, this is the paper pumpkin stamp set. There's a pretty little flower here. I'm going to use that. I'm going to go ahead and stamp a few of those up here. Oh, you're very welcome, Nancy. Thank you for that. She said thank you for the nice videos. It is my pleasure. Thanks for watching. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Okay, so now we're going to do some coloring. I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight on this and the Poppy Parade for the flowers. So starting with the lighter of the daffodils, the Daffodil Delight, we're just going to color that flower in. I'm actually going to go right ahead and color that center in too. And if it's all right with you, I'm just going to do half, because I'm going to do very similar techniques that I did on the last 2 flowers that we colored in that I'm going to go a little bit darker in some areas here around the center, because that's the way I like that look, and all around some of these areas here with that's a darker Daffodil Delight. And then I'm going to take the light Poppy Parade and just do a little bit in the center here, go around here, and that whole center right there. And then the darker Poppy Parade in the middle. Back to my light one. And we're going to blend that all together. So we're going to blend that center in, and we'll blend around the edges. I'm going to act fast so that you can rub those lines in so that you don't end up with lines. And if you wanted to layer a little bit more on there, you could with the darker or with the poppy. And then I would color the leaves exactly like I colored them on the other two cards with the Old Olive. So if you're popping in late, you can check out the other two flower cards that I colored in for that. And then I would go ahead and trim this out through the magic of video. I have that all set. But wait, before we leave, before we leave our markers, that is, not quite done yet, I want to color in the flowers that are on this panel, that's going to become our card base. The extra flowers that we added on here. Now this is not Whisper White cardstock, so it's not going to blend quite as nice. So I'm not going to do quite as much blending on that. I think I'm just going to stick with the Daffodil Delights. Instead of adding the dramatic poppy, we'll leave that just for the center one. So that stands out. And then we'll take some of the Old Olive. And just add a little bit of green to the flowers that we put in here. Like so. Missed one. The leaves. I know I call them flowers, but I did mean leaves. And there's some berries on the edge here. Let's go ahead and hit those with the Poppy Parade for a little punch of color there. Now, a little bit I'm not even going to blend this one in here. I'm just going to add a touch of the darker on here. And then that's all we have for coloring. We're just going to go ahead and do some assembly here. I'm going to assemble this with Stampin' Dimensionals. Just line that up with the guide. Oh, I missed some flowers. Okay, so on my original, I cut out the flowers, and on this one I didn't. So actually, I'm just going to pop that off real quick. I didn't press it down yet. Let's go ahead and hit those flowers because we want them to be colored nicely too. I mean, why do I keep calling them flowers? I meant leaves. Oh, this is just some Old Olive. Blend that darker in, so we've got some shading on there. And now we'll put that on top with the Stampin' Dimensionals. And that's kind of like, wow, right? So cool. And if you touch that with some Wink of Stella, that would be even more awesome. This is a copper foil class. I know that is how I advertised it. However, don't laugh at me. I ran out of copper foil. As I was cutting, I'm like, oh my gosh, how does that even happen? I love copper. So this particular card we're going to create with gold, gold foil, but it will be created the exact same way. So I'm going to take some snail adhesive and attach this white panel to the black panel so that the black, it just gives it a little bit of pop on top of that gold. Also, if you have your PDF, and just in case I forget to update this, because sometimes I do, I have the wrong measurements for the black on here. I have 5 by 3 3/4, but it's really 5 1/4 by 4. So my apologies, and just make sure you update, in case I forget, make sure you update yours. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stick the foil down on a card base. Again, all those measurements are on that free PDF. Just don't make fun of the foil when I go ahead and attach the words to it. Oh goodness, I didn't even cut this the right size, did I? You know what? We're just going to roll with this because... Do I cut that down or not? Let's just roll with it. You know what? You guys will forgive me, right? I'm going to go ahead and attach this with I'm actually going to leave it off because I want to put copper foil on it. So you know where I'm going with this. I'm going to go ahead and attach this with Stampin' Dimensionals. And then I'm going to take one of those Saleabration. Now these foam words, the rose gold words, do come in that refill kit. It's only $10. Like I said, it's not going to last in my online store. And so I'm going to peel off the back of that, stick it on here, and that is card number 5, and that is complete. And so we have our complete set here of 5 cards. And don't run away yet, because I'm going to show you some sneak peeks to part 2, which will be using the same products, but with different coloring medium. And so you want to come back on Saturday, because Saturday is my Stampin' Demonstrator group's blog hop. So we're going to have a lot of cool Saleabration ideas, and I probably will have a few more, but I am using the Saleabration Happy Birthday to You stamp set that we just used, and the flower that we just used, completely different. So these will be watercolored, and I will show you some cool techniques with that too. Oh, and there's, if you look real close, you can see some really cool new Saleabration film on the back. All right, so I will see you guys back on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you have enjoyed this. And don't forget, my Tropical Oasis Shimmery Kit is only available till Friday, so you want to pop over and grab one of those while you're grabbing on my stampwithtami.com blog, and also grab your refill kit before they sell out. Thanks for joining me today.